The bang of metal on concrete shook me awake. I bolted from my bed and peered through the cracked blinds. In the alley behind our apartment building, 3 older kids surrounded my friend Marco, edging him toward the chain-link fence. "Hand it over," snarled Reggie, the tallest one, wrenching Marco's backpack strap until the canvas groaned. Wade and Torre circled like vultures. I grabbed my hoodie and slipped out the door. No time for hesitation. Down the fire escape. I dropped to the asphalt just as Reggie yanked Marco's bag. Papers fluttered toward the dumpster behind them. Marco tried to fight back, but his fist met Reggie's knee instead of his jaw. Then a deep voice cut through the darkness. "That's enough." Everyone froze. I looked up. Mr. Bishop stood in the alley entrance, shoulders broad, arms folded. The streetlight glinted off the silver watch on his wrist like a signal flare. Reggie sneered. "What are you gonna do about it, old man?" Mr. Bishop didn't flinch. He took one step forward, and the ground seemed to tremble. Wade's bravado snapped. He stumbled backward, knocking into Torre. Marco scrambled free and grabbed his bag. "Go home," Bishop said quietly. His voice was calm, but I felt it in my bones. Reggie dropped Marco's backpack and took off down the alley. The others scattered after him. I didn't move. My heart pounded so loud I thought it might burst out of my chest. Bishop reached the dumpster, lifted the lid, and fished out the scattered worksheets. "Here." He handed them back with gentle hands. No judgment, only concern. "The thank you," I managed. Voice trembling, he nodded and turned to go, but paused, looking back. At Marco, who was brushing dust off his knees. "You okay?" he asked. Marco nodded, too stunned to speak. Then Bishop slipped away around the corner, melting into the night. The next morning, I saw Bishop again, this time at the cracked basketball court behind the rec center. I'd gone to retrieve my bike lock. Key, which Marco's panicked kick had accidentally flung onto the court. Bishop was there, crouched beside the chain-link fence, tying reflective strips to each post. When I stepped into the court, he looked up surprised, but not angry. "Morning," he said, voice still low. Thanks for last night." My words came in a rush. He gave a half smile. "Kids shouldn't be afraid to walk home." He handed me the key. "Take care of yourself." I tucked the key into my pocket and watched him fold his arms, scanning the horizon as though mapping every shadow. That afternoon, my grandma called in a panic. "Your uncle's truck broke down on 5th Street. Come quick." I pedaled as fast as I could. At the corner of 5th and Grant, Uncle Leo's pickup sat stalled, hood up. 2 men in leather jackets leaned against the passenger door, cigarettes dangling from their lips. They laughed as Leo turned the key, nothing but a sluggish click. I hesitated, heart sinking. Then I saw Bishop step out of the shadows behind the gas station, toolbox in hand. "Need a hand?" he called, as though he was just dropping by. The 2 men exchanged a look. One grinned. "Sure make you feel useful, old-timer?" Bishop ignored the job. He popped the hood and worked the engine with swift confidence, fingers probing wires, listening for sounds no one else could hear. In minutes, the engine coughed to life. "Thank you," Leo said. Relief flooding his voice. Bishop wiped his hands on a rag. "Drive safe." The 2 leather-jacketed guys gaped, then sauntered off without another word. That evening, curiosity got the better of me. I followed Bishop at a discreet distance as he walked down Maple Avenue. Instead of heading home, he slipped through the gate of the abandoned community garden behind the church. There, under a single flickering lamp, he knelt among rows of new seedlings, tomatoes, kale, marigolds. He unzipped his jacket and drew out small wind chimes, hanging each at the corner of a raised bed. When a gentle breeze blew, they sang a soft warning to anyone who crept near. I swallowed hard. He wasn't just fixing cars and chasing off bullies. He was protecting this hidden garden too. 2 nights later, I heard shouting outside my window. A fight had broken out between neighborhood teens and a lone kid who'd sneaked into the garden to steal produce. I grabbed my flashlight and raced down the hall dot in the alley. The two attackers were closing on the trespasser, fists raised. Before I could call for help, Bishop burst through the gate, chimes clinking behind him. He planted himself between. The four of us, chest broad, arms spread like a fortress. "You two back off," he said, voice clipped. The attackers froze. They backed away, muttering curses, and ran off down the lane. Bishop turned to the kid 13 years old, tears streaking his dirt-smudged cheeks. He knelt and placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "You all right?" The boy nodded, voice small. "Yeah." "Go home," Bishop said, eyes softening Dot as the kid fled. Bishop rose and picked up the fallen wind chime, placing it gently back on its stake. The melody tinkled in the night air. A week later, I cornered Bishop outside my building. I'd gathered proof old newspaper clippings showing his name under headlines like "Community Watch Leader Saves Children" and "Former Auto Technician Volunteers at Youth Center." I approached him, heart thumping so hard I could barely speak. "Mr. Bishop," I said, handing him the clippings. "Is this true?" He scanned the printouts, eyes flicking over dates and photos. Then he closed the newspaper in his hand and met my gaze. "It's part of the story," he admitted. "I wasn't always the quiet guardian used to be. I made plenty of mistakes. But after I got out, I decided to use what I know to protect, not destroy." He tucked the clippings into his jacket. "Thanks for looking beyond the rumors." I felt a lump in my throat. "Thank you for protecting us." He nodded once, then stepped past me, disappearing into the dim glow of the street lamp dot that evening. Our block held a surprise gathering. Families brought potluck dishes to the community garden's entrance. There was laughter, music, children running between the raised beds. A sign hung on the fence. "Thank you, Mr. Bishop, our silent guardian." I found him leaning against the lamppost, arms crossed, eyes bright with something like pride. I handed him a slice of my mom's apple pie. He took it, smiling, a genuine warm smile. "This is unexpected." I shrugged. "You deserve it." All around us, neighbors waved. Kids tagged him as they ran by, grateful and unafraid. Sometimes the person everyone fears is the one you need most. And sometimes the bravest hero is the quiet soul who stands guard in the shadows, never asking for thanks, only waiting for someone brave enough to notice. Asterisk.